Okay. So, welcome everybody to episode 2 of the Family Meeting series. As I've told many of you before, we're going to be consistent for 2025. So, we're going every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. I'm going to pull up my screen right now to start the presentation. And please feel free if there are any questions as I'm going through things. Don't worry about interrupting me. You guys can jump in. It's not a huge group today. So I'll answer questions as we go, and if new things come up, I'll jump back on topic once I've answered your question, or I'll tell you to wait because I'm going to answer your question. So we'll see how that goes. But let me know when you guys can see my screen. Oh, I can see the screen, but I can't see none of you guys. Why? Oh, that's why. Let me share. All right. Can you see my screen? Beautiful. All right. So that is my lovely face. I know you guys love to see it so much, but this is me. All right, some house rules for the family meeting. Okay, some of you have heard this already. If you saw episode 1, I'm going to cover some of the same stuff in the beginning and then dive into the new stuff. But the sole purpose of the family meeting is to be a safe space to learn, share, and empower one another around all things that involve financial literacy. So we're going to cover a lot of different topics, not just one and not the same thing every week, but I have a routine and I have a schedule. If there are some things that I'm not going to cover, please let me know what you guys want to talk about because I'll add that to the list. If you're looking for some get rich quick plan, idea, scheme, or anything like that, this is not where you need to be. I will not name any names. Mr. B, yeah, I'm talking to you. Okay, great. But this is not the place for it. We're going to talk about real actionable things to learn how to use money properly and make money for the long run. Make sure you come to the meeting with pen and a notepad, prepared to take notes. I see some of you have your notepads out and your pens. I love it. So we're gonna learn some things so you guys don't ask the same questions over and over again. That's also fantastic. Let me move my thing over here. Okay. Don't be shy to ask questions. This is interactive. I am not one of those people that likes to hear my voice all the time. So if you got questions, jump in and let's talk about it. It's a safe place. There are no dumb questions. So whatever the question is, we will address it and answer it. The family meeting's about 60 minutes. If you want to share it with your friends, be a good friend and share it with your friends. If you haven't done so already, I know many of you have already sent it out to friends and family, so thank you for that. And I hope that we can learn some stuff today that's valuable. Okay, now my thing's not working. There we go. So a little bit about myself. There we go. Who is Andre Green? I'm an investor, a serial entrepreneur, a mentor, an author, not on here, a father. I started working in real estate in 2005. I had almost every job in real estate except for maybe about 3 of them. I've done rentals, listing agent, buyer's agent, loan officer, loan underwriter, commercial property manager, residential property manager, an asset manager. I'm a licensed New York State real estate broker. I have a wholesaling business. I know a lot about real estate. That's what sort of got me into the space of also insurance. I am the founder and principal of Seneca Village Insurance. We're a licensed insurance brokerage in 14 states covering life insurance, business insurance, GL, construction, restaurant development, and many other lines of insurance. So if it's insurance related, we can assist you with getting it done. Check out the website if you want some more information, SenecaVillageInsurance.com. I have personally raised over $350,000 in business credit across several different business corps. What does that mean? That means I understand how business credit works. I understand how to acquire it. I understand how to use it. And I also understand what not to use it for because I've learned those lessons the hard way, right? Debt is not always your friend. I authored my first book titled The Long Distance Millionaire last year. It's out, available now on the website, longdistancemillionaire.com, also available on Amazon. And I wanted to share with you guys because no one else knows this yet, but I'm doing an in-person live podcast on the book on February 1st at Industry City at 12 p.m. So I'll send out if you're on the newsletter, you'll get an email about the in-person podcast if you're in New York City. please, I would love to see you show up, bring a friend or two. We might have some drinks afterwards, but we'll figure that out once we get there. The book, The Long Distance Millionaire, is the actual step-by-step, oh, went too far, is the actual step-by-step guide that I use to actually build my portfolio to over $1 million in under 36 months. So that is my little claim to fame when it comes to the book, because I put all of my knowledge into the book. And then I also wrote a property management guide that goes along with the book to teach you how to manage your investments once you have your investment. And since Lydia is on the call, can you unmute for me and tell everybody about your experience so far?
You know,
Thank you, Lydia.
you're very welcome, friend. Yes, Andre is amazing. Like when from start to finish, everything that he's going to teach you and everything that he tells you and directs you with, I would tell you 100% just follow it to the T, and it'll be a streamlined business investment. Do you want me to disclose or no?
It's your business. Go ahead. It's up
Oh,
to
okay.
you.
Listen, it's your business too. So full disclosure, I bought a property from Dre last year, and
Mhm.
it was the most streamlined thing that I've ever done. He's really hands-on, really understanding, and full disclosure, I am not into real estate whatsoever. But because Andre is one of my best friends, he's a bully, and he kind of like bullied me into doing something different because he recognized that my money was just pouring out into a space, and he was just like, absolutely not. He was like, this is crazy.
Who was taking your money while I said you need to get into real estate?
The people's government.
Yes, Uncle Sam, the
Yeah,
IRS.
when I told him how much I had to pay the IRS, he almost passed out, and he was just like, "We're not doing that next year." And so he pushed me and to get me to doing this thing. And again, streamlined. It was quick. It was easy. It was efficient. No issues. No hiccups. But good thing he stopped calling me for money. So we're done.
How has your experience been so far with your tenant?
My experience with my tenant is really good. She's only had like a couple of repairs, but like major things that I could say, like I'm just like, oh my God, no. Everything has been really good. Everything with the payments, the way we manage it, it's really good. Like I don't have
Beautiful,
any complaints.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And just so everybody knows, past results are not indication of future results.
No, no, no. We
That
do
is
not
Lydia's
verify.
experience. So by all means, she's going through it with me, and I will teach and educate and guide everyone along the way. But I can't do what I did for her for everybody. But yes, I am here to help. So as much as I can, I absolutely will. Thank you for your feedback, Lydia.
You're very welcome, Andre.
All right. So one of the basics I want to cover is, where are you in your life journey currently? So I have 4 boxes here on the screen. One of them should identify who you are. When you read the box and you see who you are, I want you to put your number in the chat, because I want to see where you guys are on your journey right now. So 1, you just became financially aware, and you just became financially aware, just working any job and starting to make money. No plans for your money yet, you're just kind of living, right? Number 2, you are in your career or a solopreneur, but you don't feel like you're getting ahead. Not enough money is left over at the end of the month. No money set aside for retirement yet. You're kind of just spending and going. You're not really sure what to do with it once you get it. Number 3, money is flowing abundantly and you must work to maintain your lifestyle. You don't have control over your time yet, but you have put your money away into savings, into other investments, and you're starting to think about your retirement. Number 4, you're on the home stretch of your career and retirement is within the next 10 years, but you're not sure if you have enough money yet set aside to live life the way you want to live in retirement. So one of those 4 should cover everybody on the call. So whatever number you are, put it in the chat. So I'm going to come back to that in a second to sort of see how I can assist everybody along the journey. We're going to talk a lot today about those of us that are in number 3 and number 4, because this is geared towards retirement, the conversation. We're also going to talk about how to sort of tighten up how much money we're taking home from our W-2 jobs. For my entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, business owners, a little bit of a different conversation today, but we're gonna get to you guys in the next the next Zoom. Oops. Okay. So I like for anyone to jump in when you can, but I want to know, what were the lessons that you were taught about money at home? So unmute yourself and please share your experience, because I think everyone falls into one of these categories, and I want to hear some of the live feedback of what you guys have experienced just growing up, right? We all have family and we've all learned something about money, right? So what is your experience of money? Anybody? This is interactive, people. You have to talk to me.
I'll talk, Dre.
All right, Deja, what's up?
My learnings of money was you are to go to college, you are to take out a loan. When you get out of college, you to work for the city because they have the best whatever, whatever. And you stay in the city and you stay there and you're miserable until whatever.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much what you were told was just go get a city job because it's going to be secure money for the rest of your life until you retire.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm assuming that that job will cover your basic life expenses. You can probably take 1 or 2 vacations a year, and everything should be okay in retirement.
Is that you're asking if that's what it's supposed to be?
I mean, that's what it sounds like, right? When you start talking about city job, that's pretty much what the blueprint is, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing. Like, you didn't get bad information. That's one way to do it, right? And a lot of the generation ahead of us, that was what they were taught. So they taught us what they knew, right? The purpose of these calls is to sort of add some new information to our knowledge base so that we can have a little bit more, or some options, some flexibility as we go on our own journey, right? So number one, what our parents tell us what our parents tell us is how to use money, right? Pay for the important stuff, right? Make sure you have a roof over your head, cover your rent, cover your mortgage, pay your light bill, pay your gas bill. For those of us that are going to church, you're gonna tithe that 10%. For everybody else, you should also be saving 10% and buy the things when you need them, right? That's one version of how we were taught to handle money. And maybe it wasn't a verbal thing, they just kind of showed it to us, and that was what we just learned through osmosis. Some of the other things is that what our parents show us is that they show us things how they use money, and not necessarily by teaching us, right? So we actually got to see what our parents did with the money without having a conversation around it. So it wasn't something you spoke about at the dinner table, and it wasn't something that they taught you as a lesson, but they sort of just lived their lives, right? So you saw them pay bills, you saw them pay rent. And growing up in a Caribbean household like I did, they were always telling me how much electricity I was burning when I left the lights on, right? Don't leave the door open, don't leave the lights on. Money doesn't grow on trees, because the words at the time, we didn't realize it comes from a place of scarcity, right? If you waste it, you won't have any more of it. So they're going to be buying groceries, paying bills, setting money aside for your education, or making you take out student loans for education, like many of us had to do, that we're still paying off now, right? They're buying cars, buying vehicles, new or used. And then Christmas time rolls around, Black Friday, Christmas, your birthday, special occasions, they're spending money at the mall. And many of us saw them using credit cards, but they didn't really tell you how credit cards worked or what happens when you don't pay the credit cards on time. So these are the lessons that we want to sort of educate ourselves on, not the hard way, hopefully going forward, but to pass it on to the next generation of our nieces, nephews, sons, and daughters, right? And then some of us weren't told anything at all. Parents didn't talk about money. You didn't see your parents spend money. You didn't see your parents save money. You just sort of learned it on your own once you got old enough to start making money and you're moving out on your own. And then you learned by trial and error, which could be the most expensive way to learn some things. Not always the worst way, but possibly the most expensive way. And my goal for the series of the family meetings is so that we can learn from others' mistakes, we can learn from our own mistakes, and then we know what not to do going forward, and what we can teach those that are coming up behind us, because everybody's at a different part on their journey. And if you can learn from someone else's mistake, you'll be a lot better off. So these are my 3 levels of money. Depending on where you're at, hopefully you didn't jump around too much, but if you master one level at a time, you'll be much better off by the time you get to that point where you say, you know what, I got FU money, I'm not worried about work anymore. I just want to go do what I want to do. I want to give my life to the beaches of the world, to travel, or to ski, or to stay home and watch Netflix, whatever your desire is. If you get to level 3, you should be at a point where you can dictate how you want to live, and you've accomplished some level of freedom. That could be financial freedom, that could be personal freedom, that could be time freedom. Everyone's goal might be a little bit different, but these are the 3 levels. So the first one, which is what I covered a lot on episode 1, was credit, personal credit, right? We're going to talk a little about income today. We're going to talk about budgeting. I know everybody loves budgeting. Y'all don't love budgeting. It's okay. It's fine. I like it, but you guys don't. It's okay. But we're going to talk about budgeting, and we're going to talk about how you're going to add your fun stuff into your budget. A budget doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just a record of how much money you make and where you're spending it. We're going to talk about savings. Paying yourself first is on level 1, because once you master that skill, everything else becomes a lot easier once you see why I'm telling you to pay yourself first. And in level 1, you want to cover all of your life essentials. That's, cover the roof over your head, make sure you got some food, make sure you figure out a way to transportate yourself so you can get around. That may mean owning a car, that may mean public transportation, depending on where you live, but you're gonna cover all life essentials. Once level 1 has been taken care of, you now move on to level 2. In level 2 is where you start learning about insurance. Why? We're talking about life insurance, we're talking about renters insurance, we're talking about homeowners insurance. All of the insurances are inside of level 2. Because once you understand how to use insurance for your benefit, it changes how you save money, it changes how you spend money. You can now lend money without the concern. You can lend it to yourself, you can lend it to a business, you can lend it to a friend, you can just lend it in general, right? We're going to talk about how to make your insurance make you money. Level 2 also includes business credit. So some of you have used business credit, are aware of business credit. I've talked to you about business credit, and you understand that it's a very powerful tool once you start to acquire business credit. It can also be a very dangerous tool, which is why it's in level 2. I don't want you to get too far ahead of yourself, but if you understand how you're budgeting and what money's coming in, then you can start to figure out how you can sort of accelerate the process by using business credit. One of the great tips for business credit is
shit, looked like he froze.
but it's a great tool to help you graduate from level 2 to level 3. Also can you guys see me?
Now, can you rewind on business credit? You froze.
Gotcha. Okay. So on business credit, it can be a very powerful tool and a very dangerous tool. So the reason why business credit is on here is because once you mastered how to use your personal credit and budgeting, you can now use business credit to sort of accelerate the process to help you buy more assets, to sort of start your business or accelerate your business. And it's gasoline to a fire that you've already got going. So I don't want you to get ahead of yourself and get into too much debt, but I want you to know how to responsibly use it to sort of put yourself in a better position going forward. And we'll cover that on another one of the family meetings. The money plan. So the money plan is similar to budgeting, but the difference is we're talking about the excess disposable money now that you have access to. Because at this point, you should have some business credit, you should have some insurance cash value, you should have some extra money on the side because you're starting to make money, you're starting to save money, and now you've got some disposable money to put into some other investments, which is why investing is the next thing. The purpose of investing is to make your money work for you. And if your money's working for you, you don't have to work as hard. That is the purpose of investing. It's going to help you get ahead. And if it's done properly, it can replace your full-time income, whether that's your self-employed income, your W-2 income, or any other income you got coming in. If you invest the right way for a long enough period of time, you will definitely have a surplus of money coming in and probably multiple streams of income at that point. The last piece of level 2 is your money education. This is kind of broad because it covers a couple of different things, but when you get to the point where you've covered everything else in level 2, you're gonna probably realize that, well, you got some excess money and you don't know what to do with all of it, right? So now you need to educate yourself for what are all the places I can put my money. That might mean hiring a financial advisor or talking to someone, talking to a finance expert, educating yourself with different types of investments, right? So everyone talks about passive investments. You might want to start, looking at more than just a regular real estate investment. Maybe you want to start looking at a business. Maybe you want to start evaluating, how do I put money into a REIT, or how do I put money into the stock market? The education around money should never stop. And the more you have is the more you need to know. Okay. Level 3 is massive action. You've learned a lot in level 1 and level 2. You know almost as much as you need to know about what to do. Now it's time to go do it. So taking action with all of the tricks and tools you have in your tool belt is when you start to see your money grow really, really fast. Money management, investment management, and tax planning, legacy and asset protection all sort of come together, because this is when you build your team. You're going to have a CPA, you're going to have a financial advisor, you're going to have an CPA, you're going to have a lawyer, you're going to have a board. So a lot of people don't talk about this, but you should have an advisory board. It doesn't have to be someone you hire, but a sounding board for you. Who do you talk to about investments that you want to make? That might be a financial advisor, that might be somebody else, but so you need to have an advisory board. So someone that you should be bouncing some of your ideas off, some of your future plans off of, so that you know you're making a sound decision, because 2 minds are always better than 1. And last part of level 3 is never stop learning. There's always something more to learn, but when you find your lane, you tend to stick to your lane. So there's nothing wrong with doing what you know, but it's also nothing wrong with hearing out new things, right? A nice little example I like to use is Blockbuster and Netflix. Blockbuster knew that they knew everything that they needed to know about tapes, DVDs, and rentals. And when Netflix came around, they were like, we don't need to start doing anything like that, because that will never work. As we all know, that's not true, right? So the new kid on the block brought some new tricks, and now Blockbuster's out of business. What that looks like in the financial world is crypto, right? So for those of us who are not familiar with crypto, you need to become familiar with crypto. So don't just act like it doesn't exist. Find out some information on it, learn some information on it. If you guys want information on it, let me know, because I can bring someone on to talk to you guys about crypto. I have a very good friend of mine who's in that space, who has a education program already, and learning about cryptocurrency, which I believe it is the future, is going to be very helpful for you going forward. That's a place for you to grow money, because we as a community normally are the last ones to know about the life-changing kinds of investments that we can make. Crypto is sort of a level playing field right now. It's not going to look that way in a year or two, but if you understand what's going on, you know where to put your money for the future. All right. So at each level, you're learning a new skill and putting it into practice. Once you have mastered that level, move on to the next one. All right. So today we're going to talk about, how do I take home more money from my paycheck? Some of you may know this information already. Some of you do not. So I'm going to cover the basics, and I'm going to get into some more details on a few different things. Everyone who has a W-2 job, or who has ever had a W-2 job, has filled out something called a W-4 when you got the job. Now, what is the purpose of a W-4? The purpose of the W-4 is to inform your employer how much tax to withhold from your paycheck. Yes, you get to determine what amount is withheld from your paycheck. The reason why this is so important is that most people don't even know that, right? You're telling your job how much to send or withhold for Uncle Sam while you're working throughout your pay period, throughout the month, throughout the year. And at the end of the year, then you do your taxes. So I want everyone to be very careful. I'm giving you information that is useful and you should know, but if you use it the wrong way, you're going to burn yourself. Don't put your hand on a fire because you know it's hot. What does that mean? If you adjust your W-4 too much, you start playing around with it and adding a bunch of dependents, like you got 9 kids, you're going to get a lot more of your paycheck every week, or every 2 weeks, or every month, however you get paid. But at the end of the year, you're going to have a really big tax bill. I don't want you to have that problem unless you know exactly what you're doing. So if you have a strategy behind it as to why you want to take home more of your paycheck and reduce the taxes you're paying throughout the year, if you want to do a call, we can do a call to talk about it, but be careful as to how you do it. And this is the setup of how the W-4 works, right? Your marital status and the number of the dependents is a factor that determines how much tax is withheld. So what does that mean? On your W-4 form, you have the option to elect single, married, and a couple of other things. If you put single, and if they ask you how many dependents you have, you put 0, that will allow your job to send the most amount of tax possible out of your paycheck. They're going to take the biggest chunk if you're single 0 on your W-4. If you're single, but you have 2 dependents, and a dependent does not need to be a child or a kid, right? It can be anyone. It can be an adult. All that means is that someone else is living in your household. So they're dependent on you working for their livelihood or their safety, right? They're in your house. You can claim them on your taxes. Now, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a CPA, but you can have kids living with you, adult kids, and you don't claim them on your tax return, or you can have a parent living in your household who's not working that you do claim. There are different ways that this can happen and this can change. But keep in mind, the more dependents that you claim on your W-4, the less tax they take out. Your job does not ask you to verify this information. So you're literally telling them whatever it is that you need to tell them for them to adjust your taxes accordingly. Being married or head of household with multiple dependents will lower the amount of taxes that come out your paycheck. So being married or head of household on the actual form, along with having dependents, will lower how much money you're going to be receiving lower the amount that's coming out of your paycheck. And like I said before, I want everyone to be careful. By maximizing your dependents, you will get a larger paycheck, but you can also owe a lot of money at the end of the year to Uncle Sam. So please proceed with caution. And you also, as a reminder, you can also update your W-4 at any point throughout the year. They don't go back and fix it, but if let's say you did it in June, they're gonna adjust it June going forward. If you did it in September going forward. You did it in February going forward. So I like to tell everyone, beginning of the year, it's January right now, just take a look at your W-4 to make sure that they're taxing you properly. If you're in that situation where you're paying a lot of money to Uncle Sam, or last year you owed money, right? So if you got too big of a refund, it could be because you're not paying enough tax. If you're paying too much taxes, and while I brought that up, let me just say this: if you are getting really large refund checks from Uncle Sam, that's not necessarily a good thing. Okay, that means you're paying too much money in taxes, and what that means is you're giving Uncle Sam a free loan all year. He does not pay you interest on your loan. So if you're getting a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 refund check, you're giving too much money away. So that money should be coming back to you in your paycheck. Deja asked a question: can you claim yourself as a dependent? No, you cannot. You are the person that's working. So when you fill out your W-4, they're asking about you personally because they're going to take the money from you. I would not suggest you putting 1 on there unless, like I said, you have a strategy. And if you have a strategy, we can have a conversation about that as to what to do going forward. But on your W-4, they don't verify it. They don't ask you. They just make the adjustments based on what you wrote on there. So if you're trying to get a little bit more out of your paycheck, that will happen if you adjust it that way. So you don't want to give Uncle Sam any free money by having these huge tax returns. And if for whatever reason you end up owing Uncle Sam at the end of the year, they do charge you interest if you go onto a payment plan. So keep that in mind. Don't give them free money. And if you owe them money, they're going to charge you interest on the repayment of your tax refund if you don't pay it all at once when it's due. And tax day for most people working a W-2 job is April 15th. So everybody has about 2 months left right now to get everything in order and together to file your taxes. Okay. So what are the basics that everyone should know about retirement contributions? Let me ask you guys, should everyone have a retirement? That's a question for the group. I need some answers. Gotta unmute yourself to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. What kind of retirement do you want to have? This is recorded, by the way. Be careful.
Okay, yeah, no, I want the legit retirement money that is gonna come to me passively while I'm laying in the beach,
You said
laying on the beach.
you want to have money coming to you while laying on the beach?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's the kind of retirement money I want.
That's the
coming.
kind of retirement you're looking for. Do you know what age you want to retire?
Yes, I would like to retire at 50.
At 50. Okay. All right. Well,
I'm 39 and a half now.
thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's wonderful for you. All right. Thank you for sharing that retirement goals. Anybody else want to share what the retirement goals look like? Nobody. All y'all want to work for the rest of your life? Okay. That's good.
Oh no, I want to retire.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have an age in mind?
Yes. Sorry, let me put my camera on so that Arlene doesn't get mad at me. Yes. So I would like to retire at the age of 55.
55. Okay.
Yeah, and I want retirement to look like traveling, checking in on some businesses, doing some
Okay.
consulting work, and hanging out with my kids.
Okay. Beautiful. 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 Thank you for sharing that, Ola. Anybody
And
else?
getting paid. I want to get paid every month.
You want to get paid every month in retirement?
Yeah, no quarterly.
No
No
quarterly.
net 30,
Gotcha.
no net 60, none of that.
Okay. You want money every 30 days.
Yeah, every 30 days.
Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have a number that you want to get paid every 30 days?
Yes, definitely. 45,000.
45,000. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share what their retirement looks like for them?
I do not want to retire.
You don't want to retire. All right. I love that answer. Why not? What do you want? What are you doing now that you don't want to retire from?
That's not what I'm doing now. It's what I believe I will be doing.
Okay.
Or I just want to continue to grow a business and be able to work until I can't work anymore, pass it down to my children. But I definitely don't want to retire.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for that answer. And that brings up my point, right? Everyone's retirement is going to look different, right? So the purpose of retirement, well, in my opinion, right? It's not about not working. It's about getting to do whatever it is that you want to do, right? So if everyone should have a retirement, the best way to enjoy your retirement is to plan for it. So I'm going to cover some of the things that you should know about retirement, how our current retirement system is set up, and some of the options that you may have available to yourself to sort of accomplish these goals, right? So everyone's age may be different, everyone's dollar amount may be different, everyone's actual goal may be a little bit different, as you guys heard from a couple of people on the call, right? So the type of retirement options that are going to pay you either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, once a year, it depends on what type of plan you have. So if it's coming from personal savings, that's one form of retirement. A pension is one form of retirement. About the pension, a lot of companies do not have it anymore. So there's still a small handful of companies that have pensions, but they're a thing of the past for most people. 401k, 403b, those type of programs are all very similar. We're going to talk about a lot about those because the 401k is what kind of replaced the pension, and there's a reason for it. We're going to talk about IRAs. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. Now, an IRA is one version, and then another version is called a Roth IRA. So an IRA is an IRA where you defer your tax payment, which means an IRA and a 401k and a 403b, they're all tax deferral retirement programs. That means the money that goes into that account is before any tax comes out of it. So you're going to pay the tax on that money when you retire. For most people, that's after 59 and a half. And the reason why 59 and a half is important, write this down. Once you're past 59 and a half, you no longer have to pay a penalty to access that money that's in your retirement account. So if you have a 401k, a 403b, or an IRA, your money went in tax deferred, which means you didn't pay any tax on it. And when you take it out at retirement time after 59 and a half, you're going to pay tax at that point in the future. We're going to talk about the future part, why that's so important, in a second. A Roth IRA is another version of a retirement account, but the difference is you pay taxes first, then put the money into the account. So that means any growth you have on Deja, what was the question? Unmute yourself and just ask me.
I wanted you to repeat the statement exactly how you said it.
About which part? The regular 401k and IRA?
Yes.
I got you. Okay. So I'm gonna explain Roth first and I'll go back. So a Roth IRA is a retirement account that you pay taxes on the front end, and then you don't pay tax when you take it out later on. You still, in a Roth IRA, you still have to do, sorry, in any IRA and 401k and 403b, 59.5 is the cutoff to take the money out without any penalty. So with the Roth, you pay taxes first. So once the money goes in, it grows tax-free. With the 401k and a 403b and an IRA, you're gonna pay taxes later. So it goes in tax deferred, and then it's gonna grow, and then you're gonna pay taxes when you start to pull the money out in retirement after you hit 59.5. And that number can change, but once you pass 59.5, you no longer pay the penalty. The penalty right now is 10%. So if you have a 401k or a 403b or regular IRA, your money's going in untaxed, tax deferred. It's going to be in the account. It's going to grow. Once it grows and you pass 59.5, and it's time to start taking withdrawals or what's called RMD, which is required minimum distribution, that's when you start to pull the money out of your account. You pay tax on it at that point in time. There is another type of account called a self-directed IRA and a self-directed Roth IRA, both of which are just like regular IRA accounts. The difference is that self means you get to dictate where the money is invested. So you have control over your retirement account, but it's in a special account that you tell where the money goes. Okay, if you guys have more questions about self-directed IRAs, I can go on a deeper conversation about it. But just so you know, you have the ability to dictate where your money goes for your retirement now. Social Security is another form of a retirement option or a retirement plan. For many of us, and I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't see the future, I don't know. But we have a lot of baby boomers retiring now, and the way that the Social Security system works is the people that are working now pay into an account for the people who are retired. Right now, we're in a very unusual time because there are a lot more people retiring than there are people working for multiple reasons. One, there's baby boomers. There's way more of them than there are of us working folks. So there's more people that are dependent on Social Security than there are people working to put money into the plan. Another problem with Social Security is a lot of millennials, not to pick on millennials, but a lot of millennials are not working traditional jobs. Because they're not working traditional jobs, they're not paying into Social Security. So if we're looking for our kids and our nieces and our nephews to pay into Social Security for us when we're at that age, that may or may not be there. I don't know how many of you rely on the government to sort of keep their word and pay their bills, but we have trillions of dollars in debt right now. It may be there, it may not be there. Do you want to risk that in your retirement? That's up to you. Me personally, I'm not waiting for Uncle Sam to come save me if I need money to buy food and buy milk and eggs and live a normal life. And as many of you want to do, you guys want to travel, live on the beach in another country. I don't know if Uncle Sam's going to be here to support that lifestyle. So I'm not going to leave it up to chance, and I'm going to plan for my own retirement. Can I get a 1 in the chat if any of you know who is currently managing your 401k at your job? Okay, I got 2 people. Wonderful. Michelle, can you please unmute yourself?
You didn't say if we put a 1, that was automatic.
I wasn't. Actually, that just happened on the spot. So thank you for unmuting yourself. Question for you. When I said do you know the person's name or you know the company?
The company.
Okay, so do you have any idea who's actually managing the money that's in your retirement account?
The one person?
Yeah. Is it one person? Is it a group of people, or you don't know? It's in an account.
No. I have called TIAA to
Okay.
talk to them. I know
Okay.
it's TIAA. I don't
Right.
think it's just one agent.
Okay.
But I've gone in to see what the allocation is.
Okay.
It's TIAA that manages it.
Got you. Thank you very much. You know more than most, just so you know.
I'm aware.
Okay, great. Shantae, and I hope I said your name right.
Yes.
Do you know who's managing your retirement, your 401k? What company?
Yes. Fidelity.
Fidelity. Do you know the person doing it or just a company name?
I have spoken to a rep, but I can't remember his name, but most of my items are mutual funds, so I
Okay.
believe it's a group of people.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Monique.
I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but it's Waya, Yaya, VOYA.
Okay, yeah, it's military.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So have you spoken to a person over there or you just know what the overall company is?
I have spoke to a person before, but it hasn't been lately.
Okay. Is it
As
the
long as
same
my money's
person?
growing, I'm happy.
Say it again.
As long as my money is growing, I'm happy.
As long as your money is growing, you're happy. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I agree with that statement. So thank you for that. Thank you everybody for chiming in. The reason why I asked that question is because most of us know that there is a company, right, that's managing the money. Those companies have a contract with your employer. The person you're talking to on the phone is a representative or a financial advisor or some type of consultant. That's not the actual person managing your money. There is another person behind that person that's an actual money manager for TIAA Craft, for Fidelity, for all of these other companies that are out there that do pension, Vanguard. There's actually a money manager that manages the funds. So it's not the person you're normally talking to on the phone. Your allocation, you get to tell them how you want it set up. Do you want to be moderately aggressive? Do you want a growth fund? Do you want to be conservative? Are you looking for bonds? All of those things you get to tell them, but then they put into mutual funds sometimes. But then the money manager or the fund manager is the one who actually picks the stocks or the mutual funds to put your money into. So yes, you know the company, but you might not really know who's actually managing your money. And 90% of, let me not say 90%, a lot of your money that's in retirement is in the stock market. The reason why I bring that up is that if you were a person that was retiring in 2007 and you looked at your retirement account, and let's just say you had $1 million in there after all of the years, all of the blood, sweat, and tears of you going to work 40 hours a week on the low end for 30, 40 years, and the market crashed like it did in 2008, you would have lost 40% of your money. So you went from having $1 million one day, and then the next day the market crashes, you now have 600,000. And many of you might think, well, 600,000 is still a lot of money. It is, but you're still going to be pissed because you just lost $400,000 and you don't know why. And it's in the market. So that will change how long you can retire for, because the amount of money you have at retirement is supposed to last you for the rest of your life. Now, people are living longer, people are retiring earlier. So if you retire at, let's just say 65 or 67, which is the new age that they're starting to use now, you hopefully live to your 100 if we're lucky, right? So that's what, 33 years more of living your life, right? So maybe you have rent, maybe you have mortgage, maybe you pay them off and you don't, so you just have regular living expenses, food and those things. Will that money last you for the rest of your life, or will you outlive your money? Right? So that's really important to know how much money you have and how long is it supposed to last. I personally had a 401k with a job when I was working, and the money was with Fidelity as well. And when I left the job, I decided to roll that money to a new place. Now, most people don't realize this. If you have a 401k with a job and you leave that employer and go to a new job, your 401k money can be moved. You can move it to another qualified account. A qualified account is an account that's a tax deferred account, like a 401k, like an IRA, like a self-directed IRA, like a Roth IRA. Now, you can't just move your 401k money from a regular 401k account to a Roth IRA account because they're taxed differently. As I went over before, Roth is taxed up front, IRAs are taxed, and 401ks are taxed on the back end. But they're both qualified accounts. So you can move the money, and there's a strategy that I teach people how to do that if any of you are interested. So if you've ever left a job and you left a 401k at your old job, you have the ability to move that money. Some people want to leave it there, some people don't. I'm telling you to mind your business and make sure you manage your own money. So if you move it to another account, you can move it to another Fidelity account, you can move it to Vanguard, you can move it to a self-directed account. You have options, but you should know where your money is and who's managing it, right? Don't leave that up to chance because that is your actual money that's owed to you. Right, so I just mentioned you can take control of your retirement accounts from old companies. You should be having an annual meeting every year with a financial advisor or an accountability partner. Now, I mean, I would say it's good advice that your accountability partner is someone that's good with money. So if you're talking to a financial advisor or someone that you trust that knows what they're talking about when it comes to retirement and their money, you should be having an annual meeting. Your life changes monthly, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily, but you need to review your money on an annual basis for a couple of reasons. One being when you, Mish, why, you want to talk about the 1% commission? So in the chat, Michelle just asked, how do I feel about the 1% commission on financial advisors, which I will answer for you in 1 second. But what I will say is you should be reviewing your account. Like Monique said, if the money's going up, everything's fine. You want to make sure that your money continues to grow. So you want to review it to see how much is in there, how much change from year to year, how your allocation is. Your allocation is really important. So if you started out at 25, you're like, oh, I got a lot of time to work, I want to do a growth portfolio. So most of your retirement money is in things that are going to grow. It may be a little bit riskier. You don't want to necessarily be in that same growth portfolio when you're 58, 59, 60, 62. Because you're getting closer to retirement, you don't want to risk a lot of money going up and down in your retirement account when you're getting closer to a time that you're going to start using it. So you should reallocate your account over the years to go from growth to maybe protection, right? So that's going to change what your setup is inside of your actual portfolio. To answer Michelle's question about the 1% commission to financial advisors, there's good and there's bad, right? So it depends on what kind of advisor you have. You're paying someone for their expertise. So you have the ability to sort of set it and forget it by giving it to a financial advisor. So do you think that person should be compensated for what they're doing for you? I'm asking you, Michelle. You can shake your head, yes or no. Yeah? Okay. So that's one reason why you could do the 1%. If you feel like your financial advisor is actually not advising you, that's the reason why I say to check in with them once a year. Because if you're talking to them and you're telling them this is what you want to do, and they're not giving you anything that makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, you might not want to leave your money with that person. Because some financial advisors, like every other industry and every other business, are just there collecting money. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not balancing your account. They're not checking on your money. They're not telling you, hey, I think you're at this point in life. Things have changed. You might want to adjust some things. They need to earn their keep. So I don't think the 1% thing is a horrible thing, but it depends on who your money's sitting with. Everyone has a lot of financial people have different advice around that. They're telling you to manage your money yourself. They're telling you don't use a financial advisor because they're robbing you. They're telling you put your money in the stock market, put your money in a mutual fund. One answer doesn't work for everybody. So you're going to have to do what works for you. But the good thing is, and the purpose of actually these calls is to give you enough information so that you know what your options are. Most people don't know that they can move their 401k after they leave a job. Most people don't know that they can tell their financial advisor, I want to reallocate my funds to have a different setup. Most people don't know that they can set up their own IRA, right? You can have your own IRA on the side of your job. So you can have a 401k at work. You can open your own IRA account at a bank or with a financial services company, and you can put your own money in there for retirement. There are limits to how much you can put into your retirement account based on the year. That's governed by the IRS. That changes every couple of years. but there are rules and guidelines. I'm gonna send out an email to everyone who's on the newsletter after our call, because that will it's going to outline some of the stuff that I'm talking about. It's going to have some questions that you should be asking anyone who's managing your money. It's going to have some answers as well to what that person should or should not be saying to you, and it'll give you a couple of ideas as to what you can do with your retirement accounts and with your money when you're talking about planning for the future. The last thing I want to touch on is that you should create a wealth management plan for your golden years. So the only way to retire is to plan for it. And a wealth management plan is simply just the things I just mentioned to you, right? You're gonna figure out what year ideally you want to retire. You want to look at your expenses right now. How much are you paying in bills now? And how much do you think you're gonna be paying in bills in the future? Manny asked a question, what is the best retirement account for self-employed folks? There are a few of them. So there's no one answer, like one hat doesn't fit everybody. But some of the options are self-directed IRAs or self-directed Roth IRAs. There's also a SEP plan, SEP, self-employment pension plan. You can also set that up. I am an advocate of insurance. You can use that as well for retirement. Go ahead, man. What's your question?
Yeah, so I know you've told me about using insurance in the past. I just remember you telling me that like don't bother because I didn't really make enough money. So I mean that was then.
Yep.
But my question is that how do you feel about like if I own like a few like Airbnbs like overseas, and I just use like the income that came from those properties to really solely be my retirement account, because
Okay.
I definitely plan on working and paying taxes and getting some kind of Social Security when I'm about like 65 or maybe 70 when that time comes.
Right.
But I figured that if I get that Social Security check and I'm collecting, 15 grand a month, from my luxury Airbnbs that I'm gonna design and build across the Caribbean,
Right.
why can't I just live off of that versus, putting money into TD Bank and all these other folks that don't really care about me that'll probably steal from me later on.
Oh, I'm hoping they don't steal from me, but that's a great question, and you bring up a great point, right, Manny? So the reason, the thing that Ola mentioned at the beginning of the call is that you want cash flow, right? Your retirement is based off cash flow. The more cash flow you have, the better your retirement is going to be. Where is the cash flow coming from is what we're really talking about. So it could come from one of these retirement accounts. It could come from your real estate portfolio, right? If you've got a bunch of Airbnbs or you've got a bunch of real estate that you bought over time that has probably very little debt on it, or it spits off a lot of cash flow, that can be your retirement account. So there's not one single way to do it. But keep in mind, and I will be very cautious if you're telling me that you want to manage a bunch of Airbnbs when you're 70, because at that age, are you doing the work? And if you're not doing the work, you're kind of reliant on whoever is managing your properties for you to make sure they do their job to collect your money, not steal from you and put into your bank account so you can go put your feet up on the beach, right? So there is going to be some risk involved with where your cash flow is coming from. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about using retirement accounts. You hopefully should be doing things that are low risk at the time when you don't have the ability to just go out and make a bunch of money for yourself anymore, which as we get older and we age, we don't have as much energy. We don't have as much patience. We don't want to just deal with it at all. So your money should be coming to you pretty easy without you doing a lot of work because you spent the previous 60 years working. So you should be able to relax at that point. Did that answer your question?
No, it does. I mean, you pretty much told me I'm gonna be old, so I gotta really think about who's gonna manage those properties.
If you're lucky, you're gonna be old. So one day we will all be old, right? If you're lucky.
Right.
But I mean, it's just something to think about, right? Because you don't know, climate changes make that very vulnerable. Okay, so Michelle's looking out for your locations for your Airbnb, so you gotta be careful.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good point you brought up, right? Everyone doesn't have to use a retirement account, but it is the predominant option because a lot of people are working and those things get set up for us, and you should be putting into it. I want to talk about contributions to your your retirement account. If your job offers a 401k of any type, 401k, 403b, Roth 401k, that is an option as well nowadays. If your job is putting money into it for you, you should be matching your job. So, for example, if they say we're going to match the first 3% of your 3%, that means 6% is going into your account. You should at minimum be doing that if you can afford it, right? And when I say afford it, it's because it comes out of your paycheck, so you're going to take home less money. But the younger you are, the better it is. If you haven't started it yet, look into starting it. And if you don't want to do it with your job, at least set up your own individual IRA account. I would suggest a Roth IRA. That's after tax money that goes into that account, because that will grow tax free, because you want to keep as much cash flow as you can later on down the road. So if your job is doing a match, do the match. Putting over the match is up to your own personal discretion. I don't advise it. I don't suggest it. I don't recommend it. If you're putting in more money into your 401k, I think you can probably put that money in a couple of other places. One may be a whole life insurance policy. Another may be a Roth IRA. Another may be a self-directed IRA or self-directed Roth IRA, because you get to control your money. You have no control over it once your job is the one allocating your retirement account for you. So that's why it's really important to sort of get your hands on your retirement money. If you leave a job and go to a new job, you get to move your money and start to manage, to control it a little bit better than your job doing it for you. And one of the great quotes that I came across that a long time ago that I actually found again when I was putting this together for you guys is retirement is about retiring from work, but not from life. You're still supposed to be living your life. You just don't have to worry about the work part of it, right? So get to do the things that you want to do. And if you want to work, then work. But you get to pick and choose what it is. The goal is to not retire, but be financially independent. And that's the real goal in life. The earlier and younger that we do it, is the easier, for the most part, it makes our lives. Any questions so far about 401ks, about retirement accounts, or any of that stuff right now? Any other questions, I should say? Because you guys are asking great ones, so thank you guys for being interactive. No? No, nothing? All right, cool. Next slide. Multiple streams of income in retirement, right? So, as my mom used to tell me, she still does, every mickle make a muckle. My mom. What does that mean? Every little bit adds up, okay? So you don't have to necessarily have a huge retirement account to retire comfortably, because you can have multiple places that money's coming from that's going to be feeding back into your bank account when you retire. What's your question that you're asking, Michelle? If you had to choose one, would you invest your money in crypto or in a 401k, and why? Great question. If I had to choose one, so I'll walk you through my thought process. The purpose of my retirement account is to be there when I need the money when I retire, right? So crypto is not necessarily a safe or regulated market right now. So if I'm putting money away that I'm going to probably use in 20, 30, 40 years, I don't know what the crypto landscape or scene will look like in that period of time. So I think that might be very risky to put my retirement money into an asset class that has no real regulation right now. And I don't know enough about it to know if it's a safe thing to do. 401k, a little bit more tested because it's been around since the late 70s, early 80s. I would feel more comfortable with a 401k than with having all my retirement money sitting in crypto. Because if things go to hell and crypto tanks, and as you can see, it's very volatile right now with Bitcoin going up and down like that, I don't know if I leave all my money in there expecting it to be there in 30 years. But, you know, you get to make your own choice, but I wouldn't put it there. For now, I put in a 401k into some type of mutual funds and ride the wave of the stock market until I'm ready to start managing it myself. I hope that answered your question or your friend's question. All right. So yeah, as I was saying before, you don't need to have all your money in one place, but you need to make sure you have enough cash flow in your golden years. So a part of the wealth management plan that you should be making for yourself is you're gonna know what your expenses are. You're gonna need to know what your target number is for your retirement in terms of cash flow. So how much is coming from wherever it's coming from, going into your accounts. Accounts that could be paying you in retirement are going to be a qualified account, which, as I mentioned before, is a 401k, a 403b, or traditional IRA. Non-qualified accounts are anything with a Roth on it. So a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, a self-directed Roth IRA. You can set up a SEP, which is what Manny had asked about earlier in terms of a self-employment account. That can also pay you out. You can receive cash flow from your life insurance policy if that's set up properly for you by a licensed, educated insurance agent. I can help you if you need that. And if you set this up properly, you'll have more than enough money. So all you're really doing is you're saving money in little buckets along the way, so that when you get to retirement age, you can start pulling off a small stream of income from each of them, and it should add up to either your income or more than your income, because you've saved it and it's grown over time. I want to make a really clear distinction about something. You hear a lot of people at your job or financial advisors, people will say you have to invest for your retirement. You don't invest for your retirement. You're saving for your retirement. Those two words mean two totally different things. An investment can go up and down. You don't want your retirement to go up and down. You want your retirement to steadily grow over time. And hopefully you're saving it in a place that's giving you some type of compounded interest. That's why they tend to use the stock market, but that's not the only place that you can sort of save your money. You can also save it inside of other accounts that you control. You can also save it inside of insurance where you have access to it. You have multiple places to save it, but you should be saving for your retirement, not investing per se for your retirement. Another thing that most people do not talk about are annuities. Now, an annuity in its simplest form is like a giant IOU from a financial services company or an insurance company. You can pay into it like in a lump sum, or you can pay into it over a period of time, and they're gonna give you a contract that's gonna tell you at this date in the future, we're gonna start paying you out for the rest of your life. Depending on your age and depending on the company, you get to pick how old you are when you start to receive the money from the annuity. That way, you'll know exactly how much money you're going to get from that one stream until you die. So that's the purpose of an annuity. The way that you come across the money could be from a lot of different things. So let's say you hit the lotto and you're like, hey, I got a bunch of money. I want to put it aside for later on down the road. You can use an annuity to do that. Or maybe you had some real estate, you sold a bunch of it, now you got a chunk of money and you don't want to necessarily put it into the market. You can also put that into an annuity. A lot of athletes use annuity products for their retirement because they don't have a conventional retirement plan. So they'll make, I think Shaq is one of the really big ones. He put away, tens of millions of dollars into multiple annuities throughout his playing career, so that when he retired, he has a guaranteed income coming into him from his annuity. He also decided to buy businesses and franchises that also are paying him out monthly. The name of the game is monthly cash flow. So that's what you're looking for in retirement, as much cash flow as possible. So you can get guaranteed payments. If you did annuity, you can have a setup, you can have a setup that your retirement accounts are paying you cash flow. You can have real estate paying you cash flow. You can have business paying you cash flow. You can have investments paying you cash flow. The name of the game is to get as much cash flow as possible for your retirement to set you up later on. I just named all of the things that are on your alternative investments. So that's real estate, that's dividend stocks, that's investing into syndications, that's investing into other businesses. There's lots of different ways you can put your money to work for you. Your little soldier dollars should be making you babies every single day. The more babies they make, the more money you have. The one thing I don't want anybody to do is outlive their retirement. So people are living a lot longer now than when these retirement products were created. The products were created based on the actuarial charts back then. With modern medicine and all of this lovely clean living that we're starting to do, people are living a lot longer. But living longer doesn't mean you're also living healthy. So you may have a longer life and be sicker as you get older. How do you account for that and how do you manage that, right? Medical insurance is really, really expensive if you don't have some type of Medicare or government assisted plan. So living in a retirement home is also really, really expensive. Some of us have parents who are now approaching, parents or guardians that are approaching retirement age. Have you looked at how they're living, one, and where they will be living? That's a really big thing, right? Because our generation is one of the most unique generations that our parents are at the age where they're starting to retire, and many of our kids are at the age where they're starting to go into college, right? So we've got a lot of expenses going on both ends of our lives while we're also still living our life on a day-to-day basis. So you have to be ready to be able to prepare for that. The best way that you can prepare for that is by paying yourself first. I mentioned this on the very beginning of the Zoom. You want to make sure that whatever money you're making, you're not just paying bills with it right away, right? You have to have a number inside of your budget that you're setting aside for yourself. That's the money that you're going to start paying into your retirement accounts. That's the money for your emergency fund. That's the money that you have for yourself later on. Because if you don't do that, you're going to work your entire life and get to the end and be like, damn, I don't have nothing to live off of. Now I got to keep working. So you want to be mindful of paying yourself first. It's a practice that I started doing in my early 20s. I learned it on YouTube somewhere, and it's been one of the best things that I ever built the habit of doing, is paying myself first. And money, and I should have probably started with this on the very, very beginning. Money is a emotional thing. It's a habit thing, right? We spend money based on our emotions. And if we're not disciplined with our emotions, we will spend money wildly. Because we've all got, when we were younger, we were either getting student loan refund checks, we were getting big tax returns, we were hitting the little scratch offs. When we get lots of money, are you being disciplined with that money all the time? So money is emotional. When you control your emotions around your money, you make better decisions. And the better you are with managing your emotions around money, is the more money you're going to have. The discipline takes a little time to get there. Once you get it, it changes your life. Budgets are important because it's just a form of discipline, okay? All right. So I want to make sure that you guys, this is probably like part one of a couple of them when we're talking about retirement, because I'm going to touch on it on a couple of different series as we go on through the family meetings. But the goal of this, the beginning of this, is to educate yourself about the basics of what's available to you for your retirement. You want to know what your options are and make the best decision for yourself. You want to know the difference between saving for retirement and investing for retirement. They're not the same, and you shouldn't be doing investing for your retirement. You should be saving for your retirement. So if you're going to invest, make sure you have a backup plan. You need to start doing some of the work yourself in terms of the savings. And if you're saving money to then invest it, that's great. You still need a plan B just in case the investment doesn't pan out how you plan it to go. Right? And you can always consult with a financial expert or advisor that can help you with guidance. If you'd like to schedule a call with me, you can do so. If you got a financial advisor that you want to talk to, do that. But make sure you're talking to someone that knows more about money than you do, so they can hopefully put you on the right track to be ready for retirement. A lot of us start retirement planning way too late. You should plan for retirement the day you start working. Most of us did not do that, because the more time you have is the better off you'll be. So if you start working some of us were 14, 15, some of us were 21, 22, some of us were 25, 26. If you start planning for retirement when you start working, you will set up a better plan for yourself, and you save less money the more time you have. So if you got 60 years to save money, you can save $100 a month versus trying to cram all of it in to 10 years. You're not going to hit the same target. So time is your friend. The more time you have, the better it is. All right. So my goal is to teach you how to ask the right questions to educate yourself. I hope this has been helpful so far. That's it for today, talking about 401ks and retirement plans. Some of the topics that I will be covering on future meetings are going to be real estate. We're going to talk about insurance. We're going to talk about, are you ready to buy a house? We're going to talk about LLCs, if you should buy one or set one up. We're going to talk about 529 plans for kids, insurance for kids. We're going to talk about our parents and how they're going to retire comfortably. We're going to talk about some real estate terms and terminologies, PMI, private mortgage insurance. We're going to talk about how to build passive income, like real passive income, not the pretend passive income that people tell you that you get from real estate, because it's not really passive. It's a lie. For all of my landlords out there, you know that real estate is not a passive thing. You have to actively manage it in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to talk about a lot of different topics when it comes to money. If there are any topics that you want me to cover, please send me an email, send me a DM, text me, call me, tell me what the topics are, so I'll add them to the list so we can cover them, okay? And if you can't tell from my little meme down here, I'm very excited to talk to you guys about all of your monies. The next meeting will be January 28th at 7 p.m. It's already set. It's on my calendar. I have the plan, the slideshow for it. It's taxes and tax basics. I'm gonna put the link for the newsletter in the chat in 1 second because I gotta remove my screen. But we're gonna cover taxes and the basics of it on that call because it is January and tax time. So you guys should be finding a lot of useful information from that call. I want to thank all of you for spending the time with me. We spent an hour and a half talking about money. I hope, well, did you guys learn anything? You can unmute and answer me.
Yes, sir.
You did. Was it helpful?
Yes.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Are there any questions right now? No questions.
Yeah, this is a very informative meeting. I'm definitely looking forward to being a part of that tax segment. I have a lot of insight in that department, but this is very, very helpful. You know, I love what you're doing. You know, I love my Black people. You know,
I appreciate that, James. Thank you.
You know,
and as a man who knows a lot about taxes, I love to hear your input.
Yeah, I wish I got on a little earlier, but I had clients out the wazoo. You know, tax time, it gets crazy, but this is very dope. I like what you're doing.
No problem, no problem. There is going to be I'm going to put the replay up probably by Thursday. It'll be up. I'll send a message out to everybody. I'm gonna, if anyone doesn't know how to connect with me, Instagram. I know TikTok's going away, so this will be gone probably by next week or next call, but oh well. So Instagram, YouTube, I put all of the Zoom calls up on YouTube for a replay, so it'll go up in a day or two, so you guys can all watch it there. The first one's already up there, so if you go to Andre Talks Green on YouTube now, if you missed the first one, you can watch the first one now, and I'll get to that in a second. Let me stop my sharing so I can drop the link for you guys in the chat. And here is the newsletter. Oh, crap, come on. Here is the newsletter link.
Like, do you have a forum or something, like a chat room or something like that?
So while you're on your phone, there should be a button on your phone for the chat. You click on the chat, the link will be there. So just click on the link, it'll take you to the actual website to
chat. There you go.
Yeah. Michelle, you're gonna have to show me how to do that. I don't know how to do that, okay? But great idea. Okay. One more thing. Like I said to you guys before, I will be hosting a live in-person podcast to discuss. Well, I'm gonna be doing a book signing is what I'm gonna be doing. So the book signing will be February 1st. It's gonna be in Industry City in Industry City in Brooklyn. So it will be 12 p.m. It's from 12. It's for a couple hours. It starts at 12 though. It'll be at 12 o'clock in Industry City. The podcast will be with Team Sock Passe. So if you're familiar with them, they will be the ones hosting the actual podcast. So I'm gonna send out a email to everyone that's on the newsletter list with the information for the actual podcast. And you're gonna start seeing me post it probably as of tomorrow for the next couple of weeks. If you would like to purchase a book, because I will be doing a book signing, you can purchase it online from Andre Talks Green, sorry, the Long Distance Millionaire, longdistancemillionaire.com, or on Amazon. I will have books with me as well, hopefully, because I ordered them, so they should all be there. But if you want to order it yourself and bring it with you, you can do that as well. And if you don't buy a book, I still hope to see you there. We're going to be doing a talk. It's going to be covering my journey on how I got into real estate and how I got to where I am and how I used alternative investments to do so, like insurance, and how I started to actually build my portfolio about 6-7 years ago, and it's where I am today. And I'm going to be giving out some tips and tricks along the way as to what I think people should be doing with their money to hopefully help them get their investments going, to get their journey started, to make more cash flow and be financially free. Hope that helps. Any other questions for now?
I did have a question about the business credit when you're talking about the levels 1, 2, and 3. If you don't have a business, then I don't understand, like, how does business credit work?
That's a great question, right? So if you don't have a business, how do you get business credit? Everyone should have a business in some way, shape, or form, right? So it may not be an active business that you're doing daily on an everyday basis, but if you tell me that you're going to be an investor, you're going to need to invest through a business, right? You're going to need to set up your own LLC or corporation to do your investments, because you're not going to invest in your own personal name. So when you set those things up, you now are a business. You are now entitled to business credit. And I'm going to be going over how those things get set up. What do the banks look for when you apply for business credit? And how do you liquidate the cards? How do you move the money around? How do you put it into an investment? Those are some of the things that we're going to cover when we get to the business credit topic, which probably is going to be in February. So it won't be too far out. But no, it's a great question, right? Everyone doesn't already have a business. So we're going to talk about setting them up, right? And you have the option of setting up your own. You can buy one. The advantage of buying one is that you're buying something with a little bit of seasoning or a little bit of age. An older business gets more credit than a new business. So you've got different kinds of options when it comes to doing that. But we'll go over that when we get to that call. But great question. So I'll make sure I write that one down for you. Any other questions? Okay. So thank you everybody for being on the call. I will see you soon. And once the replay goes up, you'll get an email blast to go check it out. And if you haven't checked out the first one, click on the link on YouTube and watch the first episode. Because we covered personal credit on that one. So it's just some good information on there.
You gonna send out blasts for the next meeting?
Yes, you're gonna get an email blast. You're gonna get a newsletter tomorrow with a checklist on it that covers a lot of things I just talked about 401ks tonight. So if you're on the newsletter list, you're gonna get the email, and then there's gonna be another email that goes out before the next meeting, just as a reminder, and it's gonna tell you what we're gonna cover, which will be taxes. And as long as you're on the newsletter, you're gonna get things from me periodically over time.
You said the next meeting was the 28th? You said
January 28th, 7 p.m. Yes, sir.
All right.
Where do I sign up for the newsletter?
In that link I just sent in the chat.
In the chat.
And it's in the chat.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
No problem. No problem.
I appreciate you, buddy. Very informative, I must say. You're
appreciate
very well spoken. I got a lot of information. So I look forward to the next meeting. Everybody looks like they received a lot of good information. So
thank you.
So this was good. Doing this sooner.
Well, I mean, no, it's never too late, right? Better late than never. So we here.
My God, man.
Good guy. Good job, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
You know where to buy your book.
Yes, I mean, I appreciate the support. So absolutely.
I'm a supportive guy.
You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome, my buddy.
Thank you, man.
All right.